This is our 10 on 10, where we get to review the last 10 albums that we've talked about. We're just going to run through the list of it, keep this to a short 10-minute window. We'll talk about love, hate, go back to, not go back to, or just simply, how'd you say that? It pierced my soul.
Yeah.
So, Matt, you want to kick us off?
All right, here we go. Of course, we are talking about number 50 through number 41. So, number 50 on the list, we covered Horace Silver. The album was Blowin' the Blues Away, and that was on Blue Note on LP and CD.
And number 49, Miles Davis, Birth of the Cool, on Capitol Record, LP, and CD.
Then sitting at number 48, what an album, Pharoah Sanders, Karma. That was on Impulse Records, recorded in 1969.
Coming in at number 47, we've got the Stan Tracey Quartet with Jazz Suite inspired by Dylan Thomas's Under Milkwood. That was recorded in 1965, released on the Columbia Records Landdown series on LP and the Blue Note International on CD.
I have the privilege of mentioning number 46, Dizzy Gillespie, Show Nuff. It's Music Craft. It's on CD, and it's recorded at a very special time in history, 45 and 46.
And then my favorite one here. We'll talk about that a little bit, man. I talk about him all the time. Number 45, Sitting with Sun Ra, the Majic City, recorded on Impulse in 1973.
Coming in at number 44 on the list, Nina Simone. Nina Simone in concert. That was on the Philips label, released on LP and CD, and recorded in 1964.
And coming in at 43, we have the Benny Goodman and his orchestra, trio, and quartet. It's the Jazz Concert number 2, covered in 1937 and 1938. It's on Philips, and it's LP.
I just see that on our website it lists 1337 and 1338, the years of recording that album. That's back when the rainbow was black and white. Number 42. I don't know how I managed to get my favorite albums to talk about. This is just awesome. 42, baby. Jimmy Smith, The Sermon. That was recorded on Blue Note, 1958.
And then, of course, number 41 on the list, we just finished recording John Coltrane, the album Blue Train, featuring Lee Morgan and Curtis Fuller. I'm just going to add that. It was released on the Blue Note label on LP and CD in 1957. So that's the top 10, or the 10 for 10. And I got... Okay, you already mentioned a couple of your favorites, Drew. You're going to go back and listen to Sun Ra.
Oh,
Dad, what kind of favorites out of this list did you have? What were some of the highlights?
Well, the number 47, the Stan Tracey Quartet, and the content of that and the history, the story behind it is what I really got into, and that's the reason I got into this album, because it's all about Under Milkwood, which is a story that was turned into, well, it's poetry, turned into a story, turned into an album. I think there was even not a movie or documentary on Under Milkwood. So I got into that.
And you learned a new term called buggerall.
Yes, buggerall. Buggerall.
All right. Anything else that stands out in this list in this 10?
For me, I'm sorry. For me, actually, the album cover, and Drew might cover this when he talks about his main man, Sun Ra, but the album cover for the Majic City is pretty impressive, as well as Pharoah's cover, where he's sitting with the light coming in from behind him. The music. Yeah, it's jazz.
Okay, all right. Careful how you talk about Pharoah, because
Me, might get upset.
somebody might get upset.
If I may, I just one more comment.
Sure.
Nina Simone and her the intensity at which she sang her music and the fun that she had in this live concert, that sticks out.
Okay.
Cool, man.
Drew,
No, you go.
you want me to go? You want me to go? For me, Horace Silver stands out among some of my top in this top 10. I love his style, his recognizability. I love the whole album, Blowin' the Blues Away.
Yeah.
Blue Mitchell, we dove into Blue Mitchell that week, something fierce. I'm not letting go to Blue Mitchell. Of course, Karma. I love Karma. That's one of the ones that I'll continue to go back to. It'll probably be in my rut list when I start getting in a jazz rut and don't have something to listen to, and go to Karma right away. The Sermon, I can't get enough of. So Jimmy Smith, for me, he stands out in this 10 by far. I love it. I've gone back to it several times since we've done it personally. And then Coltrane for me. These are my go-tos in this top 10.
I'm with you on that. Silver to me is a lot like the Coltrane Blue Train album. Listening to Blowin' the Blues Away, there's something just I love the blues, baby. I gotta say I love the blues. The Albert Murray book that I read, Stompin' the Blues, I love the idea of the concept it comes from and the soul that they bring. But Jimmy Smith, number one. I will go to that album all day, every day if I have nothing else to listen to or I'm drawing a blank, if I just need a pick-me-up. But the other one that really stands out is Karma. Just listening to Pharoah Sanders, past, present, and future, all of his stuff is just so phenomenal. Of course, you can't go wrong. It's got Lee Morgan playing trumpet on it. And, of course, Blue Train follows up with more Lee Morgan on it. Those things to me, I love the Dizzy album, but it's not, I won't go to that album a lot. I've got so many other great Dizzy albums on there. But the other one that really stands out, and I've fallen in love more and more with Sun Ra. Just the whole concept of where they've come from, what they're doing, that whole persona of being.
It doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me one bit that you would fall in love with Sun Ra.
Well, and I fell in love with Sons of Kemet too. And so some of that far-fetched, I would say far-fetched, it's not your average easy listening jazz music. It's not an album that the whole world goes to, oh, I'm going to go listen to Sons of Kemet burn. But it's so much great music that I love the diversity. That's what I would say. I love the diversity. It's not my standard stuff. Now, this is just the 10 albums, because one day we'll go over the top 100 and just say, let's dialogue about it. We got 40 weeks before we get to do that as a channel.
It's true.
But,
I know this is just a fun episode. I look forward to the 10 for 10 so much, just because we get to rehash and just talk about some of our favorites. Dad, is there one that you probably won't go back to?
I likely won't go back to Sun Ra.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you? If you had to pick one not to go back to, you probably wouldn't listen to it again?
It would probably be, for me, the Benny Goodman. There's so many other great albums from that time period, but we ended up with Jazz Concert No. 2, which was a long album. We found On Air, which was the album that had all of it plus 12. That was a lot of clarinet.
Yeah. So Benny Goodman in bite-sized chunks is okay,
Yes.
but bringing the whole buffet to your table is not going to get you.
Nope.
Yeah.
And nobody mentioned Miles Davis. Nobody talked about Birth of the Cool and how important it really is. I almost want to say that that's just a given that I'll probably listen to it. But if I had to pick, I'd Stan Tracey. I don't know. There was nothing bad on this 10. There really wasn't.
Right.
I love Sun Ra, so Dad, you and I have words later.
For me, I probably won't go back to Nina Simone in concert.
Okay.
Just for me. I do like Mississippi. I do like the other tunes on that, but she's just not going to be one that I pick. So we're running short on time.
And we've already agreed that we're very particular on our vocal jazz singers.
Yep, that's true.
If you ain't Billy, Ella, if you ain't Gregory
Gregor.
Porter or Johnny, he
Yeah.
played with Coltrane. I'll think about it. I'll put the text on the screen right here. Johnny, it's not Hodges. If you ain't Johnny, you ain't got it.
Yeah, right.
All right. That's
All right.
10 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good cover.
Yes. Yep.
And go back and watch all of our episodes. That's about
Yeah.
10 hours of listening. You'll see where we chose these from, why we chose them, and what we had to dialogue about them. So go back and enjoy those.
Just to see our ratings on each one of these. Yeah, just listen to the whole episode of pick your 5 favorites and listen to the 5 favorite episodes for this 10.
And that reminds me, thank you for joining us this week on all favorite podcasts as well as the YouTube channel. Drop comments, likes, smash the like button, get notifications when these come out. And Wednesdays, you can always check us out with a new podcast coming out. So when this comes out, enjoy it. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.